Besties, welcome to the very first episode of the Business Besties Club podcast, where we dive into real, unfiltered conversations about business, marketing and entrepreneurship. I'm Katie, your host, and I am beyond excited to introduce my very first guest. Someone whose story is all about resilience, passion and making big moves. Danielle is the founder of Dermatouch Aesthetics, an incredible aesthetics clinic focused on enhancing natural beauty and empowering clients to feel their absolute best. But her journey didn't start there. From navigating the challenges of university, an unexpected pregnancy, and balancing motherhood with training to be a nurse, Danielle has proven that with determination, you can make your dreams happen. And today, she's sharing how she went from a career in nursing to launching her very own aesthetics business full-time. So grab your favourite drink, get yourselves comfy, and let's do this. Danielle, welcome to the Business Besties Club podcast. I'm so excited to have you here for the first episode.
Yeah.
It kind of feels that it was always going to be you that came first. I think since you've started your business journey and I've started my business journey, I've been a client of yours, you've been a client of mine, and we've collaborated on so many things like the networking groups. So how do you feel being the first guest? No pressure?
Very excited. It's a bit nerve-wracking, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel really nervous,
So
but
do I, but you're supposed to just having a chat.
yeah, we're just having a chat. It's
Just having a
amazing. We
chat
can
in your
talk all day, can't we? In
Yeah.
the lounge, yeah, nice and relaxed. I mean, you aren't shy of talking, so I think we'll be all right. Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning. So in 2011, you started training as a nurse at Wolverhampton Uni. And then during your second year, life threw you a little bit of a curveball. Can you talk us through what it was like finding out that you were pregnant while you were still studying?
Yeah, so obviously found out about Macy.
Yeah.
Big shock.
Yeah.
Shock. I suppose it was just, I kind of knew that it just had to get on with it. It was kind of one of them. It happened. And that's the curveball that came, and it was kind of just run with it.
Yeah, wow. Just having that mentality and thinking, you know, I haven't really got any other choice here.
Yeah,
I've got to keep going.
At the time, I look back now and think, like, God, you was only 19.
Yeah.
But now, at the time, I thought, like, God, you're so old.
So
like,
grown
you don't
up.
have a baby. But yeah, it was definitely a big shock. It wasn't something that I planned to do, have a baby in the middle of a degree. But yeah, just kind of went with it, really.
And you wouldn't change it for the world, of course.
Absolutely not. I think she changed me when I was at uni, really.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine. So how then did you balance being when she came along, being a mom, and then completing your degree? Because the juggling act of that, you mean your first baby, learning how to be a mom, you're still very young yourself, you've got, you know, not much life experience in terms of that journey.
Yeah,
like how did you manage that?
Massive support network, really. I had an amazing family that helped. My sister's parents, Luke's parents, obviously Luke.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff was massive. And I think it just changed my mindset having her. When I was at school, hated learning.
Yeah.
Never been very clever. still probably, well, I'm still not clever.
Not at all.
But like when I was at school, had to redo my maths 7 times.
Okay.
So my maths GCSE.
Oh my God.
This
Maths
puts
is so
into
hard
perspective how not very clever I am academic.
But maths is very, very hard,
Maths
I
is
think.
very hard. But like all those kind of things. So like when I was at school, always had to resit everything. When I was at uni, first year, second year, used to kind of leave it to the last minute, think, oh gosh, 2,000 words.
Yeah.
I'm not that
easy.
on a Sunday night before it was due in on a Monday. Always left it till the last minute. But I suppose when I had Macy, like you put time into perspective, don't you?
Yeah.
So the time that I didn't have her, so let's say she was in bed at night, or I could put her to bed, things like that. I'd have to sit and write assignments. So there was loads of times I'd write an assignment till about 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, just cram it in wherever you could.
Because obviously time was more precious. So if she was with like parents or grandparents, that kind of thing, like obviously Luke, or if she was with my mum and dad, or if she was with Luke's or my stepmom, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I knew that I had to get it done in that time.
You couldn't do anything else when you had that free time.
And obviously the time she was awake, or the time I wasn't on placement, or I spent with her.
Of course.
So when she was at bed or with someone, then I'd literally sit and write assignments. And that is the only year I didn't have to resubmit any assignment.
That's amazing.
So how I
it just shows,
it
just shows like stripping everything back and having that absolute focus. You knew any free time you had to get your assignments done. You had to revise, study. It just shows, doesn't it, the difference in what you can achieve. That's absolutely amazing.
Don't get me wrong. It was, I think at the time, I am probably the kind of person that just just get on with it. What's putting stress in, kind of thing. If something happens, it happens.
Yeah.
But I think, like, looking back, I think, like, God, I don't know how you did that. Because now I think, like, going back to
You wouldn't do it now.
I couldn't do it now.
Yeah.
So I don't
It's
know how
amazing,
whether
though.
it was because I was young or...
Just finding that resilience, though, and that strength within yourself to think, right, you know what, I've got this one opportunity, I've got to get it done. Yes, you know, something unexpected has happened and I've now got a baby daughter. But how amazing to do that. Was there ever a moment that you thought about just completely not doing it at all and giving up?
Not really when I had Macy. I suppose when you've been at school, then you go to uni, you want to go out with your friends, you want to go on girls' holidays. I was like, oh, because I was obviously doing shifts as a nurse.
Yeah, missing out on a lot of what your friends are doing.
Yeah, not necessarily missing out, but I suppose like your friends weren't writing assignments, they're not doing 12-hour shifts as a nurse when you're training to be a nurse, so that kind of thing. The real doubt was when I had to go back to uni once Macy was... So I had Macy in the October, finished the second year, then kind of went back the following September. So she was around 9-10 months. And I suppose it was those couple of weeks knowing I was going back, because I wasn't just going back, leaving Macy. I was joining a whole new cohort.
Right, so that was difficult.
Yeah, and obviously by the third year, everyone's got their friends.
Yeah.
Everyone's got little cliques. Everyone knows what they're doing at uni. And it was kind of having that year off, as well as not being on placement. So all the nurse things, you know, the hands-on patient care, it was all that kind of stuff. But I suppose it was just like family that were like, you've literally got 12 months left. Look how quick it goes.
Yeah. And how did you find it when you went back and did that? Was the new cohort, were they really welcoming? Did you quickly settle in and make friends? And did you feel comfortable once you'd gone back and done that?
Yeah, I suppose like when I went back, my priorities had changed.
Yeah.
Although I had some friends, I still had friends in my old cohort that I would like chat with and stuff that had just finished nursing.
Yeah.
So I kind of text them for like a bit of like support and stuff, really. But really I was there to go to uni, get it done and come home.
You were absolutely focused.
It was different.
Wow.
So
amazing. So once you've graduated, you started your nursing career in A&E, and then you moved into school nursing, which you absolutely loved. But then in 2021 you trained in aesthetics and you found a whole new passion. So where did that come from and what drew you to aesthetics?
So my path had never really been to go into aesthetics. I always wanted to be a midwife.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that.
If you knew that.
No.
Oh yeah. So since I was a kid, always wanted to be a midwife. And the only reason I went and did my nursing first was because everyone always said midwifery is harder to get onto.
Right, okay.
Obviously not being very academic, they were like, do your nursing.
Okay, you don't want to do resit 7 times.
Then you can go and do midwifery. So kind of went down the nursing route. Went into obviously school nursing and stuff. Then in lockdown, got like a training job, and it very much went on Zoom, and it kind of got a bit boring.
Oh, okay.
Being at home on Zoom all the time, training the same thing. So I kind of thought I need to switch it up. So went and did midwifery at uni for a few months.
Oh wow. Okay.
Joined in COVID, so it was all on
oh
like
my
Zoom
goodness.
and stuff. Yeah, obviously had both kids
then,
so but in the meantime, obviously COVID was really like peaking, so it was like no one was allowed to do anything. We're in the middle of renovating a house. Luke hadn't long gone self-employed, and then COVID hit, and I think it was like, wow, this is a lot. Yeah, and I kind of thought, you know what, it's not really the time to do the midwifery. With Luke doing his self-employed job, COVID hitting and not knowing what was kind of going to happen, me being at uni, trying to juggle childcare because obviously it was COVID.
And you've now got two children to think about rather than just one. Never mind, one's hard enough, but like two's still difficult.
It just got a little bit overwhelming, and I kind of thought, I don't think this is the right time to do it.
No.
So kind of deferred my place for 6 months to wait and see whether actually in 6 months' time, if things
I'm ready for it now, and it's a good time.
Done and stuff. And then along the way, everyone had been saying to me, God, you should go into aesthetics, like being a nurse, you should go into aesthetics.
Yeah.
One of my friends was opening a shop in the village, and she was like, you really need to do aesthetics. And I kind of thought, do you know what, I love school nursing, but I feel like it's not hands-on nursing care.
Yeah.
What can I kind of do that's going to fit around the kids? And everyone had said about aesthetics. So I thought, do you know what, I'm going to try it in that 6 months. If that's not meant to be, and actually my passion lies more with midwifery, I'll do
then
that.
Fair enough,
And it kind of just took off from there. I thought it was just going to be a little bit that it'll be like people who knew I was a nurse, friends and family, would come and have it done, and I'd do it alongside my school nursing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So you weren't sure really how serious it'd go.
Yeah, I didn't think it would.
But I suppose so at the time it was a really good option for you, given everything else that was going on with Luke going self-employed, with just general life, and COVID for everybody was so hard. No matter what you were kind of doing, so challenging. Whether you just started a new business, whatever you were doing, it was very difficult. So for you to make that decision then was the right thing for you, and obviously not realizing kind of how it was going to spiral and how quickly it was going to kind of grow. So at what point did you think, okay, this isn't just a side interest anymore, this is going to be big and I want to make a business out of this?
Oh, do you know what? I don't think I ever really
had that moment.
I don't think I ever thought, right, that's it. I think just life just changes. I was getting a lot busier, so I was at my other job Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and didn't really work that local to home, so I was about 45 minutes from home, plus the traffic and stuff. And it got to a point where I was working Thursdays and Fridays when I was off, but then I was having to book clients in after work. So I was kind of racing home, trying to be back for like 5:45, ready for clients to start at 6. And it just kind of got to that point where it just gets a little bit overwhelming. It felt like obviously I'd been at work all day, hadn't seen the girls. I'd get in and kind of be like, hi girls, hope you had a nice day at school.
There's your tea, quick.
Kind of thing. And when I originally started, I just had I started at a shop first, then kind of thought, do you know what, I'm going to do it at home, because obviously clients aren't that regular when you first start.
Of course. So was that in the shop in the village, in our village?
I didn't even know that. Like, just as the shop was kind of opening.
Oh, right, okay.
But obviously if you think clients don't come back to you with Botox when you start for like 3-4 months, filler might be like 12 months. So then I kind of thought, you know what, going to the shop and stuff isn't really working at the minute, being so new. So I kind of thought I'd do it from home. So set up a bed in my dining room, obviously made sure everything was like clean.
Before you had the clinic room. Oh my God, okay.
And used to like ship the kids upstairs and be like, right, Mum, you go. Work, get upstairs quick, I'm now going to do a clinic. So I kind of, it went from that. Then we kind of felt like it was getting a bit busy and it wasn't fair for Luke and the kids to sit upstairs.
To keep being sacrificed.
Take snacks, up you go, kind of thing.
You haven't got a lounge anymore. This is
this is where you got to go. So then it kind of went from there. Then obviously changed one of my rooms in my house into a clinic. Obviously clients were getting busier, and then it was just the kind of getting in from work, having clients, having to say to the kids, right, quick, go upstairs, Mum's working again. So I think
you'd had enough of that, really.
Enough of that. So kind of started looking at that, and then Luke was kind of like, do you know what, Danielle, you can't put 100% into both. Had a bit of a change in circumstance with like his role and stuff like that, and he was kind of like,
it was the right time. Just now or never. Let's do it. Okay.
My hours, I wanted to change hours at work, and that didn't really suit the role I was doing. So he just kind of said, you know what, let's just do it. What's the worst that can happen?
And that's the thing sometimes. I think, like you say, there's not that one pivotal moment where you think, right, this is it. It sort of just gets to that point where you can't actually manage everything else anymore. And like you say, I mean, God, it was really, everybody was sort of involved, weren't they? If you were doing it in the living room, and everybody was sort of like, all right, Mum, we'll go upstairs and be out the way, and you could do it. So it's a real kind of team effort on the family's behalf for you then to kind of progress. So that was so March 2024, I think, was when you left your nursing job.
Just a year ago, really.
A year ago, oh my God, and then you went in. Actually, this is really good timing.
When we first started talking,
it must have been.
You were saying you were going to start your.
I was going to leave my job,
and I was leaving. I was like, "What? We need to do something."
When we sat in the dining room, didn't we?
We did.
So it must have been. Well, that was a bit later. That was. I'm sure I'd got back from holiday, so I think it was May. It was May, but you must have.
You were in having a treatment, and I was.
Oh, maybe so.
You had stuff in the pipeline.
We were like, right.
And I was kind of.
How can we collaborate?
You can help me. I don't know what to do.
And that was it. I went on holiday, came back, and you were the first person that came and sat down. It's gone so quick, So that was a year ago, and you went all in on Dermatouch. So, what was the scariest part of that?
I suppose it was leaving my job. I kind of felt like I'd worked really hard to get my nursing pin, and although I still keep that and I still register as a nurse and do my revalidation, that kind of stuff, I think it was feeling like I was coming out of a nurse job to do something for myself. I think that was probably the scariest thing, thinking, am I doing the right thing? But Luke was like, Danielle, you've got your nursing pin. Nothing's going to change in the sense that if this doesn't work, you just go back and get another nursing job. You go back into
the security of that is something that's actually gives you the confidence to think, okay, I can refer back to that if I want to.
And obviously I make sure that I keep that pin up to date whilst doing my aesthetics. But obviously that's always there if I wanted to go back. So that was probably the scariest thing, and just knowing that you're not going to have that regular income.
Yeah, that's I was going to say that's was the biggest thing for me. I think in terms of the security of having a regular sort of salary coming in,
the sick pay, if something was to happen,
all those things. Yeah, it's a massive deal, isn't it? So, despite having those doubts, you push through and you're fully committed. So, what made you think, no, this is absolutely it? I've got to go and do for it. All those things sort of, I guess, kind of accumulated to the decision.
Yeah.
But you managed to push past the doubts and thought, no, I'm going for it.
Yeah, I think me and Luke are both a little bit like that, and obviously like family, things like
You've
that.
You've got such a good support network, and also quite an entrepreneurial family.
Yeah, well, like my dad, he's always like, do you know what, do it, make your 5-year plan, all that kind of stuff. Drilled that into us, and he's always said like you got to go through he's always said this thing since we were kids, like you got to go through the shitty swamp to get to the good part. And he says, and people forget that, so it was kind of just like, do you know what, I've done a lot of hard work. Yeah, let's just try it. And if it doesn't work, you go back and choose another path.
Absolutely. So, and if you think about it, you know, you've never really gone down the easy route. You know, you're a very young mom. You managed to complete your nursing degree while having a newborn baby. You know, you've never really had that easy option. So everything you've done sort of been, you've obviously had such a mindset to it. You've thought, no, I can get through this and I can do it. And you've done it kind of every step of the way. So I suppose thinking about taking that leap and going in the business full time, you've got that confidence because you've done so much already.
I think it's like my dad's always said about like the ladder, like do one thing. Like, although you've got to have some kind of plan of where you want to get to, just master the first bit first. And that's kind of how I've always done it. I never, like 10 years ago, thought, oh, I'm going to open an aesthetics clinic or anything like that.
You just took it step by step.
It was like, you've got a baby, just get through your degree. And I didn't really care what I got, as long as you did it. I just scraped through, and that's fine.
But look at what you achieved. I mean, you must feel so proud of everything really that you've gone through.
Yeah. I suppose I do, really. I always feel like it's a funny thing to say you're proud of yourself, though, isn't it?
No, oh my God, not at all.
I just struggle with stuff like that. Like, to be like, oh, look how well I've done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I haven't really thought about it.
No.
I've just done
and
it,
you're so forward thinking, I think, and you're, you know, quite matter of fact in a way. You're very kind of calm and collected, but matter of fact, like, that's absolutely. So I suppose you never really reflect much and think, actually, what I've done. Really, but you absolutely should. I mean, God, I suppose everybody around you is so proud of you, but you must be proud of yourself because, it's massive.
I am when I look back and think, like, you know, like what I've done over the years. I think you forget, don't you, along the way, how far you've come.
And what a great role model for the girls as well, you know, they can see you can achieve absolutely anything. And
well, like they'll say things like, oh, Mum, you're at work. Like they used to be like, you're at work again, especially if I was like at work and then coming home and
working again.
But then I think it's good for them to see that. I think it's good to see that they don't see that you just get things handed to you on a plate.
Absolutely, you really have to work hard.
And then you can do nice things. So you know, like I say to them, like if you want to go on a nice holiday or you want to go on weekends out, Mummy and Daddy have to work. Like that's just it's life,
that's life. Absolutely.
And I think it's good that they see that and know that actually they can do what they want to achieve. Like even if they don't find it easy or didn't find school or didn't find uni hard, but you just
don't worry because there's a path for everybody.
And it might just take you a little bit longer. You might have to resit it. You might have to go back and do it
7 times.
I even used to have to go back and sit with like year 11s and like I wasn't even in anymore. I used to have to go back to school. Like my mum and dad used to make them a maths tutor. I used to hate it.
But how good though? Like I know at the time I'm sure it didn't feel good at all, but it's so good that you did that and kind of got through it.
Macy with her sats, she's like, oh, this and this. Oh, this is so boring. I can't do it.
Oh no,
like, you've got to. So
put that effort in now.
And I'll say like, I couldn't do maths. No, like I really struggled, but you got to just
Oh my God. And the thing is as well,
they see that.
Isn't it funny when you then become a business owner and you've got to start thinking about like financials and maths again? I mean, I know we both have an accountant and that helps us out massively, but there's all that you think, oh, I don't really need to know much about maths, and then all of a sudden you've got a business and you think, oh, actually it might be quite helpful if I understood,
because you have to do all the drug calculations,
that's true,
things like that. And I always used to obviously doubt myself with that because I used to think, because knowing I'm not very good at maths, I'd always be like, oh God, can you check this, can you check that? And that is the difference working in aesthetics on your own. There isn't anybody. So it is that like double checking
and you've got to be so careful with everything that you're doing. Absolutely. So if we talk about business then, starting out, how did you get your first clients?
I think it was just like word of mouth at the start, like friends and family that knew obviously I was a nurse and that started aesthetics and wanted to have an aesthetics treatment by a nurse, and it kind of came from there. And it was just like word of mouth. Obviously to start with it's very slow because people come for Botox and then they won't come back for 3-4 months, maybe even a bit longer. So it was like that, those gaps are filling it. And I think just word of mouth creeps up. Then obviously you add in social media, so started Instagram, Facebook, those kind of things, and it just built from there.
And so you've mentioned their social media, but what marketing strategies have worked for you best? So how's that been, or has it been a mixture? I mean, so you mentioned social media, you mentioned word of mouth. Has there been anything else, or have you found those two kind of to be the most prominent in your marketing strategy?
I'd say a lot Facebook and Instagram, really. Obviously always have to be careful on social media, like what you're posting in terms of aesthetics, with like prescription only medications,
of
and
course.
the wording and the language that you're using and stuff. But that's definitely been my biggest like platform. Obviously been working with you the last 12 months, which has helped massively. But they've been the main things. Obviously my Facebook got hacked, didn't it?
Yes.
So that kind of threw a spanner.
Because that had been so, you'd built that up so much, hadn't you? That was such a big part of what you were doing. And then that kind of all went away, which was an absolute nightmare. So is that you had to open a new account, didn't you, and kind of start again with Facebook?
With Facebook. So it's kind of just been building that back up. I'd say Instagram is probably more so now. People tend to go more down
use
Instagram,
that. Definitely.
But just been trying to rebuild my Facebook back up. But,
what a nightmare. And also I suppose as well the fact that we're lucky, we live in a kind of a quite a close-knit village, so word of mouth's been big for you. You've got quite a big network of family and friends. So again, they've probably been quite supportive in getting your name out there. And then once I suppose you've got those clients, like you say, there is that time period of they're not going to come back for Botox for however many months, but you've managed to kind of really build that big. I
suppose it's building the rapport.
You've built a good base of clients that kind of continue come back, because you've got such a great customer base now, haven't you?
Yeah, really good.
And a real good repeat business. From that.
Yeah, I've got some really, really loyal clients that have been like from the very start, even when I started at the shop. Then they followed me to my house and they're still with me now. And I suppose if you build that relationship with those clients who then are happy to share you with someone else.
Absolutely.
Obviously aesthetics is a massive trust thing. So it is about, like finding somebody that you trust, that you feel comfortable with, that you can ask those questions, you can be nervous, you can say that you're frightened of needles. It's all those kind of things. It's not just the having the treatment. It's like the bigger picture. So I think that takes a lot of time to build that trust with people, for them to feel comfortable to then say, oh, I've gone to this person or that person. So I think it's kind of just come from there. Really.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, it's not someone coming to a shop or whatever for to buy something. It's you're developing those relationships with those people, so they feel they can kind of continuously come back. And also it's the results they experience, I would imagine, because I know you've got a big focus on natural looking results rather than kind of everybody looking the same or looking as though they've had a load of work done. It's overfilled and all that sort of stuff. So I suppose once people start seeing actually the results they're getting are great and they're making a difference and making them feel more confident, but actually they're so natural and so subtle that other people might not really recognise that they're having treatment.
And I suppose it's if that's the kind of look that they want. If somebody wants a different kind of look, they might choose another practitioner. So it's kind of putting your morals and values and kind of things into like your clients and the results and your Facebook and your social media and that kind of stuff. So
amazing. So talking about Instagram, aesthetics is obviously such a visual industry, and we know that Instagram has become huge for the aesthetics industry, and obviously it's predominantly kind of your main platform. What has been your approach to creating engaging content? Because there's so much out there, there's a lot of competition, there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. So what's your approach to that in terms of kind of standing out and creating content that keeps people coming back for more?
I think it's like we've always said in the plan and stuff. I've done it prior, but then obviously since working with you, it's given me more of like direction. If that's the right word.
Yeah, absolutely.
I suppose it's like the values that I wanted from Dermatouch. Obviously, I know I'm a nurse. I obviously want to make sure that people feel comfortable in that, knowing that the background. I suppose it's like keeping it very professional, but also adding that little bit of personal in. I find that, which quite hard to juggle. You want to portray, that you're professional, as that's how I want to run it. Being a nurse, keeping it clinical and all that kind of stuff. But I think people do like to see that personal
personality,
side, and it's finding that balance. It's an open platform, so it's not private, so I'm very mindful putting the kids on it and things like that, but that is what people like to
and we
see.
talk about it all the time,
balance,
don't we?
And I think it's just, you know, like obviously it's quite hard with social media because there's lots of people out there that don't want people to know they've had treatments, don't want people to know what they've had done, don't tell husbands, cousins, friends, villagers, do you know what I mean? It is that, so it's getting that balance with your clients of the ones that are happy to be shared on social media, and then just showing my work, really. And
I think, and I suppose, like you say, through the values that you've got and your morals and the way you approach things, the fact that you've got your nursing degree, you've got all that background behind you, and how seriously you take things, that shines through, I suppose, in the content that you're going to produce. I suppose you're quite authentic in what you do. Anything you say and talk about, you know, it's true, it's happening, it's not, you know, nothing's made up, it's not kind of, you're not falsifying anything. So I think that's probably what comes through most about your content to make it different. Absolutely.
And obviously, as a nurse, you learn all about like the ethical side of things, and you know, like confidentiality and consent and all that kind of thing. And I think that is just as important to show. That actually, if you don't want your photo on social media, that's fine.
Okay.
If I don't think a treatment is right for you, or it's not going to work for you, or medically it's not appropriate, I think that has to be shown as well, because that's where you kind of gain that trust with clients. And
I think that's
like
really important. I think, like you say, lots of people will go to other practitioners and they'll say, yeah, that's fine, we'll do whatever. But actually, if you've got that kind of relationship with your clients that you can say, I'm not quite sure that's right for you, let's think about another solution. I mean, how much would people value that sort of feedback, you know, that they're not just going and being poked and prodded and you know, doing something that's not quite right for them.
Yeah, definitely, because I think someone will come for a treatment and think that, let's say, the lower face is what they need treating, but actually, like anatomy-wise, it may well be the mid-face. So it's getting that relationship with them that they actually trust what you're saying, and you're not just trying to get another area or another treatment plan.
You're not selling them something.
It's that kind of thing as well, and I think you have to build that.
Over time. But also I think that does come across in social media, because I think you, again, it's the authenticity, it's you being very open, honest and genuine about your best interests are always the client. So, you know, you're never going to be prescribing anything that's not quite right for them or whatever. And it's obviously quite a pressured environment. So do you ever feel the pressure of social media?
Yeah, I think anyone, if they said they didn't,
is a liar.
Is a liar. Social media is literally a full-time job on its own, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Obviously, I have you as a fabulous assistant who helps a lot. But yeah, I think everyone does. I think whether that's personally, professionally, whatever, there is this element, isn't there?
100%.
Of social media. I think it's like, obviously, I just see me as just me. I've just got a little clinic at home. I just do what I do, kind of thing. And then you see people out there that have got millions of followers, and it's kind of that, why do people pick me? Like, why wouldn't I go there? So it's kind of like that self-doubt, I think, that comes with it, looking at bigger people, thinking, God, I'm just little me in Shenston, kind of thing. And I think it's about, like, looking, like, there's lots of things out there, so many different treatments, so many different machines, so many different, you know, things that you can add. I think it's about just staying true to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Like, there is loads of machines out there that you could go and buy and add into your clinic, and you see someone else doing it and you think, oh wow, look at the results. Like, I should be doing that. There's always the next thing coming, isn't there? So I think that is a thing in social media. But I suppose it's just, I just felt like each time I've learned something, so like when I started, I just did Botox and dermal fillers. I didn't do any advanced stuff.
No.
So it's just, I've kind of wanted to like understand and learn and be comfortable and experienced in one thing before then moving on. But it is very easy to look at other people and think, I should be doing this, I should be doing that.
And that can often happen, can't it? I think a lot of people race ahead to try and keep up with what everyone else is doing. But actually, you know how we've talked about when we did the marketing plan, we talked about, you know, you set those objectives at the start of the year, you know what you're trying to get out of your business. And it's almost about being really focused on that and not getting sidetracked. But social media is almost kind of knocking at your door to say, hi, you know,
look,
so-and-so's doing this and what about this? And also I think it's people's perception, because we'll look at accounts, won't we? Like you've said, you've looked at other accounts and they've got masses of followers and they've seemed to have a great kind of reputation, but actually people are coming to you over them maybe or whatever. But it's all about how people are perceiving it. I mean, and if your message resonates with your target audience, then you've done your job perfectly well, you know.
You're on your right path, aren't you?
But you've got to have that confidence in yourself, haven't you? And it's very, very hard, because you can question and second guess yourself every single day, particularly with social media being, you know, such a demanding space.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really, really good point, that you've got to just really stay focused on what you want out of the business.
You want to do, and not get sidetracked. Because I suppose, like, when you're in a big job and you work for an organisation, you know, like me working in the NHS or whatever, you've kind of got things that you need to tick off, and you have like supervision with your managers and things like that. You know what you're doing. Whereas when you're on your own, it would be easy to just end up in all different
go
directions.
off on a tangent. Absolutely. And that's the reason, you know, it's so important that we talked about the marketing plan at the start of each year. And I know we break it down into quarters and we look at all different things, but just knowing kind of what you want out of your business and how you're going to get there to keep you on track.
Well, I think that's why it was good we did it when I did it, because I kind of left work, hadn't I?
Yeah, it was really good timing.
I've left work, but I can do what I'm doing, but I don't really know where to go next. So that marketing plan kind of said, right, this is what you want to do in 12 months, what we're going to do in short term,
how we're going to get there.
And that definitely helps, because sometimes it's like,
well, like you say, but there's so much opportunity. Even for me, you know, I look and think, well, you know, there are 1,000,001 things I could be doing, but actually, what am I interested in, and what are my audience interested in? What do they want to see from me?
What you're getting the most?
What we're getting the most out of. So I think that's a really, really good point. Okay, so challenges and lessons learned. What is one unexpected challenge that you've faced in running your business?
Oh, this is a tricky one.
Probably loads.
It's hard to pinpoint one, isn't it? Because things crop up. I'd probably say the biggest thing is, like, obviously being a nurse, I have got absolutely no business knowledge whatsoever. Didn't do business at school, nothing like that. So that's been mine. So it's just making sure I've had the right people around me to ask, you know, doing our marketing and social media plan, having a good accountant. Kind of leave Luke to do most of it, to be honest, all that stuff, because I haven't got to. So they've kind of been the biggest ones. And even like front facing with clients, when they're like, right, what can I have done? I never like to push on people. I never want to come across like a sales kind of pitch. No. If anything, I'll probably outsell myself out of stuff.
You're like, don't need anything.
You don't need it, kind of thing. So it's just kind of that, like the business side of it, really, because, you know, I can inject, I can, you can do your job really well and things like that, but actually all the things that goes on behind, I suppose it's just juggling all that business stuff, your stock. And when I first started, it was like knowing which pharmacies to use, you know, knowing how to record it properly, you know, all that kind of stuff. And
a lot of that comes, I suppose, with time, doesn't it? You know, you get more confident and experience. But I think, those two things that you've talked about, selling yourself, and the business side of things, are just the most common challenges that business owners face, because at the end of the day, the crazy amount of people that I end up working with just want to do what they love. They just want to do the job that they set out to do, that they're really good at. But obviously, as we know, if you're running your own business and you've got no one else to do that for you've got to do it all. But I suppose your approach to that is surrounding yourself where possible with the people that are going to bring the best out of you. That might be just advice. You can do it yourself, but someone's kind of navigating that for you a little bit and giving you some advice or guidance, or letting someone else do it if you can. If you've got the means to, having an accountant in place or having someone in place that can do that for you, because it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot, just little things that you don't even know what it is, you know, like all your tax stuff at the end of the year, all that kind of stuff. Obviously that's all new when you've not done it, so I'd probably say they've been the biggest
absolutely
challenge.
And I think you'd be totally right.
Little bits along the way,
and like you say, selling yourself is really, really difficult, because you're probably quite modest and you're probably thinking, oh no, you know, you even question, oh God, why is someone coming to me? Because you know, you just think it's just me, you know. But that is something that I think again just comes with confidence, doesn't it? It comes with time and the reassurance that actually you've got this amazing customer base and they do keep coming back for more, you know, and your reputation.
That is the thing. Sometimes you think, oh wow, like they're coming back again. Like, obviously doing something
right. And you've got to let yourself have that, because you need to feel that confidence.
And that is probably a challenge that everyone faces. I would imagine, like self-doubting yourself, not having that other person to say, what do you think to that? Do you think that's the right treatment? Do you think that's right? It's that kind of stuff.
I think I'd really struggle with doing your job, because I have to ask everybody everything. I'm like, what do you think about that?
It's terrible. I'll say to them, what should you have for tea? Is that YouTube? I'm like, I don't know.
No, oh my God. Deciding what you have for tea is the biggest job. Like, if I've decided, if ever I come into some money or make my millions, a chef is what I'm having. I never want to cook again.
I can't make a decision about anything about myself. I literally can't make a decision.
And Gav will go mad. I'll say to him, what do you think about this? And he'll go, why can't you just decide that? But I just can't. I just need someone to say,
do that.
I think you should do this.
I FaceTime my sisters and ask them to make every decision possible. I was in the opticians once and I was like, Nicole, which glasses? And she was like, Danielle, you're in the optician.
Yeah, they're for you.
I was like, well, I don't know which to choose. Honestly, I'm terrible.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So that's what I mean. Like, you've got such a big challenge that, you know, because one, you're having to prescribe and you're having to advise people what treatments they should be having. I think I'll be like, what do you think?
What do you think? Yeah.
I don't think I'll be very good.
What should I do? I'm like, what do you
Yeah,
want to
hang
do?
on, what do you want to do? Yeah, you tell me and I'll make it happen.
I do kind of get them to do that though, because I wouldn't want to say,
Yeah.
oh God, you need your eyes doing
No.
it. If they're like, actually,
I love my eyes.
Yeah. So I'm very much like, what don't you like? I give them the mirror and I'm kind of like, what screams out to you first?
Yeah.
And then we kind of work from there. I like
You're not going to go and offend anyone.
Yeah, absolutely not. And also I think it's important they make the decision. It's their face. It's how they feel. It's their confidence.
Yeah.
So actually them making those decisions, I can definitely help.
Important.
And I would make the decision if I didn't feel it was right.
Yes.
For whatever reason, not medically and kind of thing. But yeah,
you've got to give them that. Yeah, which is a good idea, really. And I suppose it's the ownership then, you know, at the end of the day, when you're having any sort of treatment done, no matter what it is, it's your body, isn't it? So you want to feel confident that you've made that decision. Yeah. So I suppose that's a really good approach to it.
And I think it's good when people come and they have thought about it for a long time. Yeah. So a lot of people will come to the prescribing clinic with me and my prescriber, and they'll say, I've been thinking about this for like literally 2 years. And I'm like, well, that's good because you've thought about it. And now you're not making the decision lightly. That's it. Yeah. And that's why I kind of get them to make the decision of where they want to start. What do they feel is most important to them? Because then they know what's bothering them, they know what they don't like, or they know what they feel needs to eat.
Yeah, and I would imagine most people come with that anyway, because of the fact that, like you say, they've thought about it for a long time. Yeah. And that is similar, isn't it, to social media? We talk about this a lot. There's a lot of people that will be following you or that will be engaging with the stuff that you do, but they won't actually convert to clients for quite a long time.
Oh yeah, you do notice that. Yeah. You see a lot of people like looking at your stories, liking the same kind of style of post. Yeah. Let's say it's all about fillers, and then
you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell that they're thinking about it.
Yeah, but it does take a while. And that's obviously, and that's why we talk about how important it is to use social media as like your shop window, because you can really showcase that you are the expert in that area. And even just through your content, you're building that trust with them, and for them eventually to say, okay, I'm just going to stop engaging now. I'm going to actually reach out and I'm going to get in touch with Danielle and I'm going to go and see her at the clinic and I'm going to become a client of hers.
And I do, like if people message and they're like, oh, I'm thinking, I'm not sure, I will always say, like, just pop in and have a chat. Yeah. Like, you don't have to make any decision. Yeah. Pop in, have a quick
and you can reassure them.
And sometimes it can be that they say, do you know what, actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or they still want to go away and have a think about it, but it answers some of their questions that they might be worried to ask and things like that. Or the same as if it's something that I can't do, then saying, well, actually, why don't you look at these or these? Because there's lots of practitioners that I would go to for advice, that I would send clients to. Something I wouldn't do, or and
how good to have that network of people around.
That's massive in aesthetics, having people.
Yeah, definitely.
That you can ask.
Yeah, and like you say, particularly because you might not want to do every single treatment that can be offered, but you might know someone that does that, and it would complement what you do. So actually building that network is really important. Okay, so if you could go back and give your past self some advice before you launch your business, is there anything that you would say?
I kind of think it's just to stay true to yourself. Like, obviously we spoke about the difference and where you can get drawn into on social media and stuff. I suppose it would just be to continue to work hard, because eventually, even if it takes you ages, you do get there. Don't worry about things. Like, things happen for a reason, I always think. And I kind of think if it doesn't work, you just try something else. You go down a different path. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that kind of thing. And just stay true to yourself, work hard and take opportunities. Obviously, we've done things like the network event that came, go to conferences, putting yourself out, your comfort zone really.
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I think, like, aesthetics wise as well, I can go to a conference and think, bloody hell, these people are so clever. Like, you can be in a room and, like,
you can feel intimidated.
Yeah, I'm nowhere near as clever as these. So I kind of is just push yourself out your comfort zone, because then I think more opportunities come. Things like that, really. Just keep going.
That's amazing advice. And I think, like, imposter syndrome is a real thing. It absolutely is. You can feel every single day that you're not good enough, that you're not, am I the right person for this and whatever. But I think having self-belief is a massive thing, isn't it? Yeah. And like you say, just go for it. And I really like your analogy earlier on about the ladder. Just go up one step and try that and see how that goes, and then go up. Don't try and kind of master too much too soon. Yeah. But having that clear focus is really important, isn't it?
And I think the right people around you. I think I'm very lucky to have a really good supportive family that will say, well, just try it. Like they are very similar to me. Like my dad's always took risks. My mom's like, yeah, just do it.
Just go for it, yeah. Well, the thing is, you don't know until you try, do you? And that's the thing. And I suppose the last thing you want to do is have regrets and think, oh, actually, I wish I'd done that and I hadn't. So, like, you know, we're only here for a short time, aren't we? So you might as well.
Go for it. Like, when I was going to leave my job, Luke was like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I was like, well, I don't know. I
don't know if I've got any money.
And then what do you do? And he'll always put, like, if I'm quite negative, I'm not a negative person, I don't think, but if I say something like, well, what about this? He's like, well, what about if this? And I'm like, okay, fine. And he's always been the same, so I kind of having
it's good to have that balance. You need someone,
where you kind of both similar. He's definitely probably more sensible than me.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
but at least he can. But the thing is, though, like if you do have those ideas, at least it can kind of, you know, he's balancing you out. You're maybe worrying about that, and he's saying, well, actually, you know, what is the worst that can happen? Seriously, you know, lay it all out, calculate your risks, and you know, if it hadn't have worked, you could have gone back to nursing. You know, but there's endless opportunities for things that you could have done. Yeah, of course there is. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I've been the same with him. Like he's moved jobs a few times. Like things have just come his way, and he's kind of thought, shall I do it? Like he left a big company to go self-employed, and he just came home and was like, I'm going to go self-employed. I was like, okay. Go for it. Like, do you know what I mean? We're just kind of a bit like that.
Yeah, and that's it. But like you say, life's for living, and you've got to just take what kind of comes your way, doesn't it? You know, and try and enjoy it. That's the most important thing, I guess. Just enjoy the process that you're going to go through, because, you know, yes, you will look back and think, oh God, I wish I'd done that differently, or that wasn't quite right,
or
that was stressful. But you learn from each part of that, don't you?
It's all part of the process, isn't it?
Absolutely. Okay, I love that advice. So, a couple of quick fire questions. Okay, are you an early bird or a night owl?
Absolutely a night owl.
I know that.
Up in the morning.
I know that because I get messages at like 11 o'clock at night.
Such a night owl. All my best ideas come at 11:30, and I'm like, what did I not think of this afternoon?
Yeah,
definitely a night owl.
You save all your marketing ideas for like midnight, basically. Yeah, definitely night owl. Okay, what is one skincare product that you would swear by?
Clinicare concentrated cleansing foam.
Okay.
Use it every single day.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
I just love a good face wash.
And it's hard. They're hard to come by. Okay. What's your go-to coffee order? I know you've only recently started drinking coffee.
So I never used to drink coffee until literally about 12 months ago, and now a caramel macchiato from Starbucks.
That sounds really fancy. I don't do hot drinks at all, so I don't know what a macchiato even is.
It's a good place to start.
Is
really
it
sweet? Full of sugar and a little bit of coffee. But I can actually drink a normal coffee now.
Oh, wow.
I love a coffee.
Yes, I can't imagine
Caramel Mac, always.
Okay, caramel mac. Okay, if you weren't in aesthetics, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, what would I be doing? Probably still in school now.
Yeah, I thought that. Yeah. And you did love that job, but it was just, you know, the thing is, like you say, opportunities come your way, and it's just, you know, what happens next for you.
Yeah.
Okay, what is one thing in your business, like an app or a tool that you use that you can't live without?
Now it would be my booking system.
Yeah.
So I and I didn't know for ages, and I felt like I was kind of losing control over booking clients in.
Yeah.
And I was very hesitant to start it. But I think, now it just makes life so much easier.
Because before that, were people just getting in touch with you by different means, DMs, messages and stuff,
so
and you'd
I
have
would
to
just put
manage all that?
I'd look at like when I was at work, what days I didn't have things on for the kids and stuff, and I'd just post the dates.
Right, okay.
But then obviously it was keeping that up to date because people had looked at it, it was then chasing, whereas now it's so much easier.
Oh my God, yeah.
Can look on there, they can have prices, they can have a bit of a description, and it's just so much easier to manage.
And just because I suppose when you're going back and forth, then it turns into a conversation, doesn't it? Like, I can't do that date. Okay, well, I can't do that date. And it's like so much time.
Someone else messenger who then hasn't sent the deposit, and it's kind of like, do I wait? Do I not? Whereas now it's just much
seamless.
Easier. Yeah, and it also helps like on my diary because it's much more like set.
Yeah,
because it blocks out the time and stuff. Whereas
so
I used to try and work it out in my own.
How long do I need? Yeah.
How long do I need? Well, and then it'd be like the maths. So 40.
Oh yeah. Got anything that cuts out the maths?
Yeah, anything that does that. So
amazing. Okay, so you've said that the girls are your biggest motivation, always. How do they inspire you?
Oh, so many ways, really. I think, like, I look back and I think both of them really, and they continue to, but Macy kind of made me who I am, gave me a kind of sense of purpose, gave me a direction, and obviously Hallie as well, but at the time only having Mason,
being so young.
And like I said earlier, I just want them to know that if they work hard, they're nice people, you know, they do their best. That's all I'll ever ask of them. And that if whatever they want to do, I'll always like support their paths. And just knowing, like I said earlier, if they want something, you've got to work hard to get it. You've got to put the hours in. It's not easy. It's easy to look at it once you've done it, or for people to look as an outsider and think, oh God, that's lovely.
Look what
how do
they've
they
got.
do that? Look what they've got. But actually, it's been a long time. Macy's like 11, so it's been a long time, like learning and
oh my God, absolutely
along the way. So I just think wanting to be able to provide a lovely life for them, for them to be able to have nice things and do nice things as a family,
and they're quite inspiring girls in what they do, because I know they're really committed dancers, and I know you spend a lot of your free time going around driving to competitions and all the sorts of things that you do. But
dancing,
they must have picked that up. They must have picked that drive up from you and Luke, because and the family as a whole, because I think being so committed to something at such a young age, because I know Macy's 11, but Hallie's 7. I mean, they are real dedicated, aren't they? And they're so committed to it all. So obviously they must have learnt that and picked that up from you and your family.
I suppose like with dancing, I've always let them. They've
taken the lead.
Like I never push them and they dance like quite a few times a week. They're at an amazing dance school that gives them loads of opportunities. But I kind of think they want to do it themselves. Like, I will take them and drop them and pick them up and pay for them and all that. But if they didn't want to do it,
they've got to have that drive themselves, haven't they? And they clearly have, which again is amazing.
They look at other people at their dance school that are doing really well, that have got like medals and things like that, and they want to do that. So I suppose it's teaching them now that actually you've got to work hard. Then if you want to do that, you're not just going to be able to
swan in there and just do it.
You've got to work hard. So I suppose that reflects.
Absolutely, I think it really does. Okay, and so what is next for Dermatouch? Any exciting plans coming up?
Oh, wow.
Have you got enough on your plate?
Who knows? I think there's always things that I'd like to do, always things in the pipeline. I think it's just looking at how it's going, what we can do. There's lots of things, but I think it would just be seeing how it goes.
And the thing is, like you say, really, it feels like you've been doing it for so long, but actually, in retrospect, it's been a full year,
and 4 years since,
which is nothing, And so, it'll soon be time for you to look back on that year and think, okay, what's worked well, what hasn't, what do I want to do more of? What have I actually achieved? Getting the marketing plan out, going back and looking at all those things, and then thinking, right, what is next? Is that new treatments? Is that whatever it might be? I know you've got plans because you want to have a bigger clinic, don't you? At some point, we need to get Luke on the case with that. But I mean, it's amazing.
There's lots of things that I'd like to do. I think it's just focusing what's next. Obviously, I'd like to do my prescribing course. I think that'll be a big thing. It's just loads of things really, and it's just making plans to kind of get there, seeing what comes. Obviously, we've done, like when we look back, we've done the marketing things, we've done the network meetings, all those kind of things that you kind of forget have happened throughout the year. So it'll be good.
There's been, and like you say, good to reflect, and I know we'd made some plans at the start of the year in terms of your own events and all sorts of things. So I think there's probably endless opportunities, but like you say, it's just there's a lot to go at. So but there's a lot of time for that as well. So it's one step at a time, one rung of the ladder each time.
But lots of things which will be exciting, and hopefully it will just
continue to grow as it has. Wow, it's been absolutely amazing.
I've loved
having you on. It's been so good, hasn't it?
It has been good.
And so before we wrap up, where can our listeners connect with you? So Instagram.
So Instagram, I'm on there. Obviously my WhatsApp or text messages. That's on my Instagram.
We'll include all your details in the bio of the podcast if people want to get.
And then obviously my link to book treatments and stuff is always in my
Instagram
and
bio,
on Facebook. And I'm always there if people want to just ask a few questions.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on.
It's been lovely.
It's been amazing. Thank you so much. It's been so good to learn about your journey. How amazing was that? Danielle, thank you so much for being our first guest on the Business Besties Club podcast. And besties, if you took any inspiration from Danielle's story today, make sure to tag us on Instagram and send us a message. You can listen to the podcast on Apple Music, Spotify, and you can watch the full episode on our YouTube channel. So stay tuned for next time, and thank you for listening.